All right, welcome back. Welcome to those who are new. So today we're gonna go a little off the beaten path. We're gonna do a reclaimer salvage mission from start to finish, along with seeing what the net gain at the end will be. Obviously, we're not gonna go out and spend an entire day recording to fill up the reclaimer. So we'll go out and do kind of one medium ship or so and see what kind of money can be made and what it entails. We'll be looking to grab weapons, systems, any cargo, um, and then, of course, RMC and construction materials. One quick note when you're taking off in something like the Reclaimer, they have changed the way, I guess, the physics works a little bit. So now weight seems to matter. So you're going to have to play with your power settings and probably put almost full in energy just to be able to safely get off the ground, get up in the atmosphere. I mean, obviously, you probably don't have to go completely full bars, um, but it will make it a lot easier. So I obviously cut some out of this, so we're actually out of the atmosphere. I didn't think you'd want to wait through all that. And we'll go through and we'll find ourselves a mission. I'm looking at the 50K missions. So looks like they're kind of slim right now. So we'll grab one of these. Thinking that 400i might be good. Now we can get a little bit of cargo. Maybe get some systems if they've reworked it. I think they have. Now it should be noticed that supposedly most of the systems in most of the medium ships on up should actually have components that you can get to. Now with that being said, sometimes they glitch and you can't get them. Sometimes you can. So we'll grab whatever we can. Like I said, I'm thinking this 400i. It's not too far away. It's at Arc L3. Should have some decent weapons on it. So, all right, there we go. So now we know what we're going after. I may or may not be joined by some other members of SIG here. We'll see. But we'll go out and get started regardless. Yeah, we're running into that issue too, just so you know. Where for some reason it won't actually let you set the point. Sometimes it's because things are in the way. Sometimes it's just because it's a pain. Growing pains, that's what it's all about. Running into a little issue with my cycle for master mode. So I'm going to change the button to another one. Probably need to clean it. All right. Okay. So obviously it's behind the planet, which is why I won't let me set it. So we'll go to one of these OMs and then jump from there. I tried to eliminate a lot of the jumping, but have a little patience with me. This is going to be a long video. One of those perfect ones for when you're just sitting, relaxing, and don't really feel like doing much. But to give you an idea, kind of what you're looking at with the reclaimer, obviously a full crew would make life easier, but then of course you have to do a lot more missions, and it's still pretty much soloable on a reclaimer for the moment anyway. Um, Obviously, you're going to be running around a lot, but since they reduce the amount of RMC and construction mules you got quite a bit, you don't have to run as much, but you do have to do more ships. Another thing that came up recently is if you log in and you have no salvage missions, like the starter one, try to find somebody that does have it and shares it to you. That will usually fix it. Once you complete it, then you'll actually start seeing the salvage missions again. It's a little glitch Sig left us. We've actually upped the quantum fuel on the reclaimer quite a bit, so you can go quite a bit. You can go running around a lot before you got to fill up. I'm not usually a fan of these hour-plus videos, but in this particular case, I think it's warranted just so you can see everything that's involved. The only thing I haven't been able to test recently is trying to repair components pulled off of other ships. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Obviously, concept kind of being with the whole tier levels on components and ships and everything else, being able to pull components out of salvage, upgrade them, and then sell them to other people kind of becomes another game path, another career choice in the game. And since SIG focuses in primarily in industrial, that's probably the things we'll be looking at. Sorry about that. All right. So, coming up on the ship here. Um, so, I'm a firm believer now that when you actually go to salvage these ships, like medium and higher, even smaller ones, that you should thoroughly investigate the ship and see what's there. Just as an example, I found a teddy bear one. In the scheme of things, it doesn't really amount to much in the game, but it's cool to find little things here and there. So there are sometimes little things you can find on the ship that have nothing to do with selling it. I would imagine at some point it'll get to a point where I have loot crates and whatever else possibly. I mean, that's obviously don't take that to the bank. It is thing we're talking about, so they may not. But they did say at one point that some of the different drives and so forth like that you wouldn't be able to get unless you were making it or salvaging it from another ship. And just for those that don't know, I believe the Reclaimer is now considered a capital ship. It has three of the four components are all capital grade. The Quantum Drive's the only one that's not. And it's actually in the same class, which is I think class 6, which is the same as the 890 jump, which is considered capital. Go ahead and try and scan this. possibly. Just to see what it's got. Let's see why my scanning's not working. Lights aren't working either, but that seems to be a common for another people. Common problem for a lot of people. Wow. A little tongue tied today. All right. There we go. So let's see. And that'd be why. Not using the right button. Apparently it got moved. Obviously, it's on the same button as some of the other things like the fire. But when you're in scan mode, obviously you can't shoot. So it's a mute point. All right. So now we're getting information. All right. Time to go exploring. Kind of like Christmas. You never know what you're going to get. So we'll run back here to the main elevator. We'll go out that way so it's already down. Go ahead and invite one of my buddies from SIG here. He's going to give me a hand. So he'll probably head this way, and while I'm getting components and stuff like that, if he gets here in time, he'll start scraping. Just makes it go a little faster. Obviously, you can do this solo, but it's a lot easier to have another person, even if you are splitting it. And it's just more fun to do this with another person. Do a helmet check here. Make sure my health is full. Food wise, we should be good. And let's exit. I always forget that they set the default to go to salvage processing. Alright, so that ring is obviously where the space station is. That's where my buddy will be coming from. As well check and see what all's on this ship first. And then we'll try to grab components. And then once we grab components and cargo, we'll grab guns. So, since the 400i is supposed to come with the next one, we'll go ahead and look and see if it's got one. Just for fun. We'll open both. So, kind of disappointing, but not surprising that it doesn't have one. All right, let's go take a look. All right, so there's the elevator. We'll go ahead and make sure the ports are unlocked. We'll open the doors. And we'll go from there. I always check it, but most of the time now in salvage missions, they're already unlocked. We'll go ahead and open the doors. All right, there we go. Let's take a look. Yep, actually, it's just closing the doors. All right, let's go ahead and open it again. There we go. And not all the cargo is going to be worth much, but I'm going to go ahead and grab it all. Because if nothing else, it's good to have around. You can use it for placeholders, testing things, you name it. Normally, what I've been finding on these salvage missions is a lot of times I'll find like one SEO of quant, one of gold. Take a look around, see if we can find anything that is keepable. Yeah, we can keep. So basically, just go into a location and then just kind of hit out when you're walking around. Then a lot of times if it is, it'll let you take it. Then you can grab it and hold on to it, and then you can put it in your inventory. But no such luck on this one. And apparently the elevator is not working from up here. Surprise, surprise. All right, well, guess we're going to be taking a ladder. And express lane. All right, let's see what we got here. So it looks like they're already open. Looks like we got, nope, what do we got here? We got a snowball cooler. So we'll take that. Just put it back here. Since we've already got the cargo open, it'll be easy to get to there. Actually, we'll just go ahead and put it on the cargo elevator. We got sedulity. I believe that's the power plant. And then we've got the quantum drive. Torrent. All right. Wasn't planning on exiting the ship, but it is what it is. And didn't make it. All right. Yeah, I guess I could have used a ladder. Oh well. We'll just go back to the stairs up. I don't think there's anything else to grab, but we'll look. We didn't check the other side yet. All right, so nothing in these. It's kind of the exciting part. Eventually, we might actually get to the point where we can get armor suits and whatever else people have left. So I think when crafting a base building's in, obviously I'll do base building, but I think I'm gonna look at crafting stuff. I think I'm gonna focus on weapons and armor and so forth. Maybe even some ship upgrades. Have a little fun with it. All right, so looks like we got everything out of there. Just drop back down here. And we'll start carting stuff over. You never have enough ship components. And right now they're all pretty much the same. Again. I think the only difference on quantum drives right now is the spool time or the cooldown time. Ironically, the XL is not the fastest cooldown. Which was kind of the go-to that everybody was using in medium ships. The TS2 is pretty much the same case. It's not the fastest cooldown. All right. I think my buddy's on his way, so just giving him some information here. Unfortunately, the markers for your party members is not always working properly. So that's why we give people headings. You figure 60 degrees from the station, looking at their top or bottom down from the station, depending on how you look at that ring. Always a good practice to get into being able to give directions. Go ahead and disband a group and reform it. See if we can actually get the markers working. It works sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. There we go. And I'm thinking I may just actually start using this big tractor beam. Have the smaller multi-tool set up as a salvage tool. It's going to be important when we can actually replace these components, or repair them rather. So, and I could have positioned the ship different to make this a little easier, but this way when he gets here, he can just start scraping. Quick note for those who don't know, if your whatever you're tractor beaming is too close, you go this slow. So push it out from you a little farther, and then you seem to go a little faster. I didn't realize that during this trip. I thought I had it out far enough, and the game was just being silly. So, trips after this will be faster, I promise. Still going to be slow and painstaking. Salvage is not for the quick and those looking for quick gratification. Patience is the game, kind of like mining. Now, realistically, We could have just come out here and scraped the hull, then just fractured it, disintegrated it, called it a day. In the scheme of things, these components aren't really going to be worth a lot, mainly because one, they need repaired if they can be, and two, they only give you a fraction of what they sell for new. They made it pretty much so that you can't just take the salvage mission, make all your money off the weapons and components, and then leave the ship. So that was a change they made way back when. Now, with that being said, once the ability to repair comes in and upgrade, then you'll want to be grabbing everything off the ship that you can possibly get. I'd even go so far as to say as we might want to even grab missiles. Because who knows? Maybe we can upgrade them. A tier 3 marksman might be a whole lot more dangerous. And just as another note, missiles are more dangerous now. The looks like my buddy's here. Um, Missiles don't necessarily respond to decoys and chaff and so forth like they used to. You can actually get hit with them pretty hard, even when you're punching out flares. So this is the last component. Then we'll go ahead and grab the cargo, and then we'll grab the guns. Now, cargo and systems, I'll put in the cargo hold. The guns, I'll probably just put in the salvage hold. They don't really need to snap to anything. Although theoretically they could, but they're just going to take up a bunch of room that I might be able to use later. So, just a little tip for you. Use the salvage hold for anything that's going to take up a massive amount of space that'll fit. And you can fit quite a few guns down there. All right, let's get some cargo. All right, so processed food, not going to be worth much. Maybe 100 or something in SCU. But I can use it for testing, like what fits on grids and so forth. And you never know. You get enough of it. Again, this is one of those things that might come in down the road. You might be able to feed yourself through these processed food crates. Who knows? Maybe they're going to have some kind of food dispenser and you'll have to have some kind of supply for it. So, just little things to think about. I know a lot of times, a lot of us just ignore everything else. Same thing with like scrap, low grade ores like iron, aluminum. We don't bother with them. But I think a lot of that's going to change. All right. There you go. Definitely goes easier with more than one person. Thank you, Sir Thaddeus. Who, by the way, is not fat. You can see him zipping across there. All right. get this, what we got here? Iron. Yep. We'll get this iron on there. And we've already got, I think, quant. And the last one is scrap. Yeah. Maybe there's another one out there. I think there's some gold and some quant on this one. I don't remember. But it's just been gold. That's kind of like the default 1SCU container find on most salvage right now. Scrap, processed food, some kind of core metal like iron, aluminum, corundum, and then sometimes quantanium. But we're going to take it all. It's all money. And we're in the reclaimer, so we have plenty of room. Now, if I was in the vulture, I wouldn't take all of it. I'd probably take the systems and the gold and the quant, and that'd be it. But since I have the room and the time, I'm taking it all. Then I'm going to go back and get the weapons too. This, I think this is since the 400 of die, so should be, I think, 2 size 3 or 4s. And then 2 size 4 or 5s. I don't remember. I think it's like 2 panthers, 2 rhinos, or something like that. So go ahead and take this up and unload it, since we'll need the room for the guns. And then that way, if something happens, it'll be in the ship. PU is still kind of rough right now. Still seeing 30Ks, server errors, and so forth. So although the 30Ks haven't been as bad in the last day or two, so that's a plus. But I did get a server error that was like the eternal server error and never corrected, never recovered. So it took me about a half an hour to get back in. Matter of fact, I think it was on this video. Again, for those that don't know, most of my videos are voiceover. I've already taken the video and edited it, and so forth. And then I come back and do the voiceover. It's a lot easier that way. You don't hear some of my foul language when things break. I don't make these for kids, but I don't really want a lot of foul language in them either. So realistically, I grabbed all of this stuff, and if you actually added together all the systems, all the cargo, and the guns, that would probably be just about enough to pay for the mission. Might be a little less, but it'd be pretty close to recovering the cost of it. Figure quantanium's 25 grand, gold's about 7 or 8, so I mean there's 30 something right there. Figure the guns are anywhere from 1 to 3 grand a piece. So there's another 2. Well, we'll call it 6 just to be on the safe side. So I mean we're already looking at like 39. So I probably wouldn't get 10 grand out of the systems, but you never know. But like I said, it'll at least be close to breaking even. And then you get to keep most of this RMC and construction materials for profit. So let's go ahead and grab some guns. Yep, there we go. 2 panthers, and I believe the other 2 are rhinos. Come on, get off of there. There we go. Go ahead and take these back. We'll come back for the rhinos. Like I said, I apologize for the length of this. I know some people don't like to sit through videos that long. Feel free to fast forward through the parts you don't want to see. And obviously, I would love to be able to make a video where people are riveted and engaged the whole time through the entire video. But it is a game, and there are lulls in the action and stuff like that, so that's not realistic. There we go. Don't have to go all the way back. There you go. There's your notice. If you're looking for weapons, armor, systems upgrades, look me up in the game after the base building and crafting's in. That's what I'll be working on. And obviously, I'm a pioneer. I'll be working on base building too, but I think I'm going to focus more on that. I'll take whatever blueprints I get, but hopefully I'll be able to get some of the good ones for weapons and armor and systems. Just something about being able to make your own components, your own weapons, your own armors, tweaking them, getting them as powerful as possible. And I should throw out a blurb out there. If you actually are in the industrial play, like salvage, mining, and eventually crafting and so forth, and you're interested, look us up on the organizations. It's Stanton Industrial Group, or SIG. Shoot us an application. We're usually pretty selective, but we'll give everybody an opportunity. I mean, I hate to say it this way, but sometimes people just don't fit in. It is what it is. You know, we're not going to try to be idiots about it or cruel or mean or anything else. But if you fit in, you'll be welcome. And we're not just looking at industrial players. At some point, obviously, we'd like to have a little bit of everything. I mean, let's face it, you can always use protection. So I definitely wouldn't mind having a combat group within it. Obviously, we're not into piracy or ganking people or anything like that. But I mean, if you want to get together and hang out with a bunch of good people, we try to keep it kind of clean. So I'll just warn you about that ahead of time. If every other word out of your mouth is an F word, probably not a good fit. I mean, obviously, everybody slips, but and we have tolerance for that. just not the typical foul mouth type thing. And we are heavily into group play. So, I mean, we like to get together, go on salvage missions, go do bunkers, go do cargo runs, mining, you name it. If there's an industrial side, we'll be doing it, regardless of what it is. And once we have, I mean, we do kind of group things now, but once we get to a point where we need to, we'll start doing events and so forth. Probably multiple events, just because not everybody would be in the same time zone. That's the problem we run into now with other orgs. Sometimes the events just don't make sense for a bunch of us. Some of us are getting old and have to get up in the morning for work. Can't be doing the 2, 3 in the morning thing playing, or even 11, 12 for some of us. All right, so that's everything we're going to try to take off of it, besides scraping and fragmenting and disintegrating. Run up to the front here. Sir Fatty is already scraping, so I'll go up here and maybe assist him or help with relocating, whatever the case may be. It's not a very big ship that we're scraping, so, and we've still got the trawlers on this ship, so it's going to be fast. Trawlers are nice for speed, but I think I'm going to change them out for braids just to get a little bit better return. We'll test it out and see. Maybe I'll do a video on the difference at some point. It's got to maximize your intake. And if you are specifically into mining and you're looking for a really big ore, then the UAMC might be a good place for you. Um, they are, from what I can see, one of the largest. So, and we're affiliated with them because most of us came from there. We just had our own ideas about what we wanted to do. Not to say that they did anything wrong, but we just have our own ideas and we wanted to expand more into other stuff. And we have a pretty good core group that's pretty tight. So that's kind of what we'll be looking to add. We want people that are going to be involved and available. Now, with that being said, real life takes priority, obviously. Do what you got to do. But as long as you can get it on regularly or occasionally and actually put some time in, we're good with it. We are Siga's by no means a hardcore group. We're not really a role playing group. We're just a bunch of guys that get along and like to hang out. And women are welcome too, but you're probably going to be treated like one of the guys, just so you know. As I said, This is a voiceover. A video I've already done and edited. So just for those who are curious, this entire run from start to finish was probably from the time I lifted it off to the time we get back. It'll probably be about 2.5 to 3 hours. Um, but I was doing a lot of it solo up till Thaddeus showed up. So if you have a group, obviously it's going to go a lot faster. You get a full crew on a reclaimer of what, one or two people down in the salvage processing, one on each salvage arm, and a pilot, somebody on the claw. So you're looking at like 6 to 7 people, and you could actually knock down that time drastically. So you could probably fully do one of these medium ships in a half hour or less, including recovering everything on it. And I just haven't been in a hurry. Salvage for me is just like mining. It's relaxing. It's the gameplay, not the destination. All right. This part will probably be a little boring. I'll be sitting in this seat, probably be moving around and so forth, just to get them in position. Got a little bit on the bottom to scrape. All right, just bear with me a little bit here. We got the downside to being the owner and pilot. Sometimes you get to just sit. I had all my excitement running through the other ship earlier. All is upon us, so I'll just apologize now. Got a little bit of sniffle, got some coughing. It is what it is. I'll edit to save you some time, but the body is the body. So, alright, so we'll wait for Sir Thaddeus to finish up here. And then we'll fracture and disintegrate it. And then we'll head back and we'll see what the final tally is. So, do this one a little different than some of the other ones I've done. I'm going to go ahead and when I get back, we'll unload it all. And then I'll run to the different areas because with systems, guns, cargo, and construction materials, we'll have to hit 3 different spots on Orison. We'll have to go to Cousin Crow's. We'll have to go to the admin office for the terminals there, and then we'll have to go to the TDD. So of course we'll have to hit 2 different platforms besides the spaceport. So, all right. So we'll get into position here and get this thing broke up. For those who aren't familiar with disintegrating, I mean, most people should be now if you played it all, but if you haven't, the closer you are, like there's a positive and negative modifier. The farther you are from it, the more negative be. Obviously, the closer, the more positive. And it can go, the swing is roughly anywhere from like negative 10 to 15 all the way up to positive 10 to 15, depending on where you're at. So that's what you see right now. Thaddeus is guiding me to where we can get the best number, just so we can get the maximum out of it we can. Construction materials are worth a lot less than when they originally came out. So I kind of maximize it. Sometimes getting closer, changing your angle a little bit, all of that modifies it. And that's what we want. And it really is a nice ship. It'd be a lot nicer when they rework it, so it's easier to get the cargo out. Um, we're pretty much limiting ourselves to 8 SEU containers, even though it'll do up to I think 16 and 24s or something like that. But we want to be able to get it out of the elevator. And the 24s, if I remember right, just don't fit. Even the 8s are, I mean, you could fit 4 of them on the elevator, so it's not too horrible. But all right, so that's everything. And we'll drop Fatty us off, and we'll head back to Orson. Obviously, I cut that part out. All right, time to head back to base. That will mean a whole different thing later. I said, I know a lot of this stuff isn't worth a lot, kind of like in mining currently, but it's a good habit to get into. Keeping some of their lower cost items like aluminum, iron, and so forth. Because at some point, all that stuff's gonna matter. Even if you're not using it, you'll be able to use it to trade or sell to other people. So might as well get in the habit of doing it now. All right, waiting on cooldown, then we'll jump down to Orison. Go ahead and adjust your power output. You're gonna need enough to land. Need the salvage beams. So that'll give us enough to get up there. There we go. That'll max it out. Maybe. Maybe not. All right. That should be enough to get us down safely. Um, First time I tried to take this out in 3.24.2, I literally flipped over into nav mode and started falling back to the planet. Actually dropped below the platform Sonoris before I realized it. So, and it really came down to I think I had like 4 bars in the engines. So you need, I'm going to say at least 6 or 8 to get safely off the planet. Your mileage may vary. I haven't tried it at ArcCorp, Microtech, or Hurston, so maybe it's a little different there. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's worse. And apparently we're still a good ways away. Saw that at 11.7, thought we were close. Apparently it was still on the other side of the planet. And obviously, being industrial players, we're probably not going to do a lot of live streaming because, I mean, let's face it, we don't want everybody to know where we're at when we're there. So that would be just kind of foolish. Be like, hey, come and get me. So we'll not be doing that. And obviously, the only people that'll be involved are those that want to be on video. All right, we'll get this thing landed. A little fast forward there. Yeah, it's pretty smooth when you got a lot of power in it. It'd be really nice if they make it where we can actually increase the capacity of the engines so you can get more pips in there, be able to run more stuff at once so you're not having to sacrifice something for others. I don't know if they're going to go that far, but we'll see. They might just make it more efficient and so forth. Or there'll be trade offs, I'm sure. Maybe you got to run the coolers more. Hard to tell. Really getting kind of excited for crafting and base building. It's kind of like most people, I'm like, release it now, right now. Even though that would probably be a nightmare. And now my hangar is closing. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna have to wait for this to close and then reopen it. Fortunately, once your hangar is someplace, that's usually where it's at, regardless. So, pretty safe to say that you can just wait there until it's time to go in after the door is open because it shouldn't move. Go ahead and get this kind of lined up so we can just drop down. All right. So we'll get this on the ground and we'll get it unloaded. That'll take some time as well, obviously. We've got quite a bit to get out. Not the fastest ship, that's for sure. But it does the job quite well. All right. We're down, we're off. Get some repair refuel going here. And then we'll go take care of business. Batty isn't meeting me here, so he'll probably be in the elevator. He was able to get down and out of his ship a lot faster. And definitely a lot faster unload with 2 people or more. Need some elevator music. You'll have to incorporate that. Of course, at this point, most of the elevator music is the stuff I grew up with, so I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. All right, so we'll get down and hit the salvage first, get the RMC and the construction mats out, then we'll get everything else. I want to get that stuff down and stored. All right, we're going to go ahead and print out some SRT light canisters, but we were going to try to repair the components, but that didn't work out. But this is still in a video from where we did it. Again, for those that don't know, when you pick this up, it tries to put it on your ammo spots on your belt. So if you don't have any available spots, it'll ask if you want to swap. So your best bet is to remove a couple of ammo clip magazines, and then you can actually put them on there. And then you can move them wherever you want them. So we'll grab a couple of these. Again, little trick, move something in your bag if it won't let you pick something up. There we go. Now we got enough room. And I noticed on here that they have RMC and construction materials. So not sure what the difference is going to be. I think what they're going to do is RMC is going to be what you use to repair like components, weapons, whatever, and or ships even. And I think construction materials are going to be used for maybe repairing a base, something like that. So we'll do one of each. However, I did one and that came up as 0, so that may not be working very well. So we'll try the other one. All right. And you can make fuses. So that's nice to see in there. I'm not going to print any of those because we don't really have a need for them yet. But it's good to know that the Vulture and the Reclaimer will make them if you need them. Nothing else, you'll be able to keep your base running. All right. Inventory is missing. Must be glitching. All right, well, we're not putting anything in there for now. Let's go ahead and get the RMC out first. Go ahead and do the biggest we can, be an 8. Check that. And then we'll do construction materials. This is where it helps to have a pull crew. You literally just shoot it down to the doorway and then they can put it in the elevator. You can have people downstairs pulling it off and shipping it over. So, so yeah, if you can put together a full crew for a reclaimer, you can do pretty well. I'm almost to the point where I think a full crew for a salvage is going to be a fully crewed reclaimer, probably a C2 or something like that for hauling systems and cargo, and then possibly an SRV in case you have to move a ship somewhere. I know the illegal or unverified missions are still exist. You don't get as much for moving the ships now, but you can still salvage them. So that's a good thing to know. And you can actually use an SRB to move them. Apparently, you can actually use the SRB to move ships away from the stations, so forth too, if they're abandoned. Same thing with on the planet at outposts and so forth. So if you go to an outpost and there are a bunch of abandoned ships, might be a good money making opportunity for a group of people. Get your reclaimer or a couple of vultures, and start salvaging ships, and then you don't have to pay for the ship. It's almost like free money. And it looks like he actually double stacked one. That's cool. Wouldn't have thought to do that. All right, that should be it. Go ahead and go down and get this unloaded. Get it stored. All right. Looks like we're gonna do a chain here. Oh, I guess I better. Oh, we gotta bring up the elevator. He's gonna bring it up. We'll start moving boxes. Guess it's gonna get picky. There we go. So basically, drop them where he can reach them. Actually, we're gonna go grab the atlas. Be a little bit quicker anyway. And we've still got other stuff to bring down and move, so. Of course, I would pick the elevator that is opposite from where the Atlas is. I think I'll just get another one in game and park it right next to the other elevator. And get one for inside the C2 as well. That'll be for mining pickups after they're refined. Again, with the Atlas, shift will let you run. Of course, it's an Atlas, so it's more like a fast walk for a character. You're not getting anywhere in a hurry with this thing, but it is useful. It's particularly useful if you're unloading by yourself. All right. Come on. There we go. Oh, and a server-induced pause for dramatic effect. Alrighty then. The other one was still there when I got back in because we had to go. We had to wait for the server to crash and get another server. So, couple of 8 SU containers were still down there, but the elevator was up, so we went ahead and moved those. Now we're going to go back after the cargo and the systems, then we'll get the guns. All right, let's get this stuff on there. Start with the 8. Yep, it's 5 now, not 4. Always forget that. It was 4 for so long for utility. Okay, and apparently we're gonna get the elevator back. Remember, Star Citizen does not have bugs, it has features. Sometimes those features allow you to do the same thing over and over again. It's practice. And for those that don't know, it's now right click to actually tractor beam stuff, not left click. All right, let's get the rest of this loaded. Obviously, you can tell I've been using left click for way too long. last of this on there. And we'll get the components on there. We'll get those stored, and then we'll get the weapons. All right, let's get this stuff stored. Okay. Guess we didn't send the elevator down yet. Oh well. Yes, that's the other thing too. With guns and systems, it won't actually let you send it as far for some reason. It's kind of silly, but it is what it is. You're looking for the kind of whitish hologram. I mean, it's on the actual cargo elevator. Green is usually in front of it. Here you go. Cargo. Gameplay at its finest. Alright, we'll go ahead and get these over there. Get the cargo put away. It's not as difficult. This is the time consuming part. And I'm not gonna lie, can be the boring part too, especially if you're just watching. But we'll go ahead and get this last one here that apparently fell off the elevator and wants to give me grief. There we go. All right, so last cargo. In the future, I might want to park a little closer to the elevator. Make it a lot easier, especially with these components. Now, with that being said, if you actually have somebody in a C2, they can take the components and hold them on the ship. That'll be a little bit easier to get out rather than having to put them in an elevator and bring them down. Thaddeus hasn't got back in yet, so he'll help once he gets back in. We were just happy to see that our progress didn't get nixed. Alright, last component. That looks like it disappeared, but it didn't. There's a definitive distance that you can see the components at. So just keep walking back where you left it, and eventually it'll pop up. There it is. Alright, we'll go ahead and send this stuff down. We'll get the weapons. Probably could have done it all together, but it is what it is. Alright, so that's all stored now. So at this point, it'll be in the warehouse, and we'll be good to go. Get the weapons in there, and that'll be it. Probably should have pulled that elevator back up, but oh well. We'll get it in a minute. Since their weapons are like components, you'll have to be close before you can put them in the elevator anyway. Yep, no, I wanted the salvage hold, not the cargo hold. Back down one. Yep, nothing there. So back down to the salvage hold. There we go. Thaddeus finally got back in. Alright, let's get these weapons out of here. And apparently the elevator closed again. Alrighty then. Supposedly you can dump these out the back now, but I don't see any way to open it. I think you can only open it from outside. So if anybody has any insight, feel free to share. But otherwise, I'll just assume you can't open it except for outside. Maybe I'll check that later and get back to you. We won't hold this video up any longer for it. It's already pretty long. Now you see why we're taking the weapons down together. They take up quite a bit of room. It's a lot of reason why a lot of people will actually leave the guns on ships, especially in a vulture, because they just take up too much room. So with a reclaimer, there's really no reason not to take them. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get these moved. Get them closer. We'll go open the elevator if Thaddeus isn't here already. Storm. Come on. There we go. Just got to change your angle. It looks like he's already got it going. Anybody can call the elevator up. When you're storing stuff, if you want it to be in your warehouse, you probably need to be the one to send it down. There we go. 4 guns. Let's go ahead and get it dropped. With the ship stored, we'll go check pricing. Thaddeus is parking the Atlas. Got to remember to buy another couple of those, maybe half a dozen or so. I'll just buy those in game though. Pull the elevator back up in case we need it later. All right, store the ship. Fortunately, they've got these spread out around the hangar. The nice thing about the extra large is you got a entry on either end. So, all right. Bypass a lot of the shuttles transport, so we're going to go through and look at these. Basically, go into sell, look for your components, look for your guns, you can figure out what they are. Snowfall is obviously glitching since it's only showing being worth 1 credit. And I mean, who knows? Maybe it's because it's broke. Maybe it's not worth anything but scrap. Hard to tell. Sedulity is worth 9.2K. So right there, we've already gotten almost enough to cover the turret. So between those two components alone, the weapons and the cargo, we've already paid for the mission. So that means the RMC and construction material are all profit. So, like I said, there is something to be said for getting the guns and components if you have enough room. Just for example, after we made this video, 3 or 4 of us got together and went out and did multiple missions. And I think I put out roughly about 150,000, 155,000 in missions. So, just getting all the components and weapons and cargo can actually offset that. All right. Get all this information. There's the guns. So far, I haven't seen a difference in the guns, whether they're off a salvage ship or just ones you already have. They all seem to sell for about the same amount. I think it's pretty much the case with the salvage components too. Just tracking this in the spreadsheet, so bear with me a minute. We'll move on to the next terminal. If you can't find what you're looking for, just go up and type in the search. Usually works pretty good. There's the rhinos. 2 of the rhinos are the ones we found. They're all selling for 2K, even the ones I already had. So it looks like you're not losing a whole lot due to being repaired, technically. All right, on to the next one. Probably go to the admin terminal since it's on the same platform. Jump ahead a little bit here. All right, and this is typically where you would sell your construction materials, possibly even like on the stations, on the range points and the actual stations where you sell scrap usually too, or gems, or any number of other things. In this particular case, we're going to get pricing for the construction mats and whatever else they'll give a price on. So processed food, not much, 172 per SCU. Construction materials down below that. That looks like 1522 per SCU. And iron at 347. So not a lot, but enough to make it worthwhile when you add it all up. Money is money. I had to go back in here. Missed something somewhere. Recording the amount and value. So we'll do this and then we'll head over to the TDD, get the price of the RMC and whatever else we can. Getting a little glitchy. Alright. Alright, so that's everything. Obviously, we got the Quantanium down there. We can't sell that here. One of these days, I'll have to sell those rooster things or whatever. Alright, so we'll go to the TDD now. A little fast forward there. Alright, so we ended up with come on. Load it up. Alright, so we ended up with 1 SCU of Quantanium, 1 of gold, 8 SCU of processed food. Same price there. 25K for the Quantanium, 7.2 for the gold. Like I said, going through making notations here. Iron is 384, so that's actually a little more than over at admin terminal. And then 12 point something 96 looks like. 12,960 per SCU for RMC. We got 8 of that, so. And then for some reason, this is a glitch that's happening where it's just showing all these extra RMC entries at 0 SCU. Heck, for that matter. Might even be because we have the. Oh, you know what that is? That's the containers for the light SRT tool, the canisters. That's what those are. So yes, you can actually sell those at the TDD. Like if you fill up the little canisters. Here we go with the final tally. So we've got our expenses on the left there. We did not include the cost of the salvage mission, was 50 grand. We've got the value for all of the cargo and the RMC and so forth. And then we've got the value of the systems and guns. So all told, we had 22, so 52, 251 for expenses, 173,000. Well, actually, no. So we had 184,000 total minus 50. So we made 134,556 on that. So, and that'll wrap it. If you have any questions or comments, let me know.